All right, guys, I'm going to do a quick presentation here on silver versus Bitcoin. I'm in the Alps, in the French Alps, in a nice hotel. I hurt my arm, but no big deal. No pain, no gain. If you want to ski off piste, the price you have to pay. But I'm going to try to give you this presentation anyways. And it's recorded. I know it's in the middle of the night for most people, so I don't expect to have a lot of comments. All right, let's give the presentation. So silver versus BTC. Let me go to full view. View the slideshow. Okay, so silver has massively outperformed Bitcoin over the last 4 months. Should you chase it? No, should not. And that's the point of these 40 slides. Let's zoom out. In 2015, silver was worth 100 times the market cap of Bitcoin. In 2017, it was 10 times. 4 months ago, it was 1 time. So it has gone from 100x to 1x, and today, 3x. It took silver 5,000 years to hit $1 trillion market cap. It took Bitcoin 15. Silver is slow exponential growth with bubbles every 20 plus years. The Hunt brothers in 1979 tried to corner the silver market. They ran it up to $50 an ounce, $200 in today's dollars. It's very important to look in today's dollars. It crashed to $5, which is $20 in today's dollars. So let's just remember 200 to 20 in today's dollars. In 2010, this is 30 years later, silver hit $49. Again, $100 in today's money. Almost the same relative order of magnitude. It crashed to $15, $30 in today's money. Still the same kind of order of magnitude. In 2025, silver went from $40 to $50 to $112. 3x in 4 months. If you look back at the last 50 years, this suggests that we will crash back to $30. So silver is the slow exponential growth that basically keeps up with inflation with long bubbles and crashes. Bitcoin is a power law growth, much higher CAGR, much shorter bubble cycles. Bitcoin, like other tech, follows a network power law. Cars in 1900, there were 6,000 of them. In 1910, 500,000. In 1920, 10 million. That's a power law. It's a power law with a power of 4. That means it is the time since the car was first introduced to the power 4 is how many cars there were. Bitcoin price is growing at 5.6, so much higher power than the power of growth of cars. But Bitcoin adoption power is much lower. It's like 2.8 or even lower. Maybe it's 2.2, 2.4. It's a little bit harder to measure. But because of this, Bitcoin does not feel like it is taking over. Adoption actually is only growing at 15% a year. So Gary Cardone was on a space a couple days ago with me, and he said, well, I was at a conference 2 years ago, and it was more or less the same guys were at the same conference this year. Like, there's no new people in Bitcoin. That we need to grow the population, but the population itself of Bitcoin adopters is only growing by 15% a year. So most likely, if you go to a Bitcoin meetup today, you're going to have 70% of the same people that were at the meetup 2 years ago, and only 30% of new people. But even though it's growing at 15% a year, price is growing quadratically, mean power to the square. And there's a lot of reasons for that. I can't get into all that now, But basically, we've got an increasing amount of people competing for a finite resource. So they're bidding up the resource even more than the number of people coming into the thing. And it may also be a function of Metcalfe's law, which is it's a network. And the value of a network is proportional to the square of the number of nodes in the network. So you say, okay, why is Bitcoin so underperformed silver? I think there are really two things. One is there's just an obvious bubble in silver that's happening. And two is there's this fear of a 4-year cycle. Well, for the first 12 years, I think you could make the case that there, in fact, was a 4-year cycle. And, this is Saylor's and numbers. So I'll give kudos to Saylor for coming up with this. Look, 50% of all Bitcoin was mined in the first halving, and lots of it was sold. 25% of Bitcoin was mined in the second halving. There's a big difference between that. So an enormous amount of Bitcoin, less, was in the second halving. And that was a positive, very big, when that second halving came, that was a big positive move for Bitcoin. 12% in the Bitcoin was mined in the third halving. And so still noticeable and still a pretty big difference from 25%. But now 6% is mined in the fourth halving. But the demand growth, the adoption, is 15% plus. Okay. So already in the current setup that we're in, demand is growing at well over 2x the mining growth. And it could be many times that. So it's very unlikely that the halving is going to make any difference going forward at all in the price of Bitcoin. Just not significant. And ultimately, the big macro picture here is AI is eating the world. We have intelligent machines, androids, etc. Android robots themselves are a new power law. Power of 4, just like cars. Similar growth curve. There will be estimates of 10 million androids around in 10 years, mainly working behind the scenes in warehousing, factories, etc. But there should be 100 million androids in 20 years. Now you're going to see them on the streets in New York. You're going to see them doing household chores. You're going to have people have androids in their homes, one or more. And they're going to be extremely prevalent. But that's the power of 4. But the main thing here is these androids are not saving money and getting paid in silver. That's just not how it's going to work. They're going to be using Bitcoin. And that's really the end of my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's see if anybody listened. Oh, we got a few people who are still up. All right. You like the view of the Alps? Got this belated Christmas tree here. Very nice. I will talk to you guys later. I hope you enjoyed my stream. And there'll be more.